You are now tuned in to the Conversations with Ms Yvonne show. It is such a pleasure to welcome you all to my show. Sit back, relax, because we're about to take you to another level. This show aims to entertain, enlighten, and educate the minds of our generation. Are you ready? Well, without further delay, allow me to introduce your host, me, Ms Yvonne! Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to the Conversations with Ms Yvonne show. I'm your host, Ms Yvonne, and I am so happy having you here as my guest and my friends and my people. Now, speaking of being my peoples, this next chick that I'm about to introduce is my peoples. I mean, so much so, my peoples, I drove hours just to go see her for her birthday because she means that much to me. She's what we would now call a creative. And if you don't know what a creative is, you're going to learn today. So I want y'all to sit back, relax, and really listen to this interview because not only is she a great person and a great friend, but she's making some great strides in the world. And if you're interested in becoming a part of Hollywood, participating in Hollywood at some point in your life, curious to know what goes on, what happens behind the scenes, how does a person even get into something like this? What does it take to be in Hollywood or to be a creator? So I want to not take up any more time, and I want you to give me a warm welcome as I introduce to you my girl, Davida Chanel.
Hey, I'm so excited to be on your show.
I'm so excited to have you, man. I feel like we've been rocking together for years.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Your turn. You go, girl. I'm tired of talking.
Well, the one thing I want to say about this is Yvonne, you're such a good friend of mine. You were here in LA, what was that, last year or the year before? And we talked about this very thing. And I'm a big fan of people who not only talk stuff, but back it up with action. So I'm so proud to be on your podcast, which you discussed with me. I feel so insider because I've been knowing about this for a minute now, and just to see it manifest when, it's so many ways and so many things that come up that'll make it so easy not to do this work, and you continue to do it. So I'm just happy to be a part of what you got going on, girl.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot. Man, I forgot it was this time last year. It was this around this exact time.
That's crazy.
We always have these moments.
Yes.
We always have these moments. And that's what I love about us is we have this good energy. And I feel like every time we meet up, it's life-changing.
Yep. All the time.
Look how far we've come. Speaking of how far we've come, what you been up to? I saw you, looks like you're working on Queen Sugar or something. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm in a bit of a transition. Like you mentioned, I just had a really big birthday. I don't even know if I'm a millennial anymore by definition. I don't know what I am. I'm just in this new space of being, I guess, grown or whatever. And leading up to my birthday, these things started to change. I was in a pretty stable career as a development talent manager, but my goal is to be a filmmaker. And I got the opportunity. It was super quick, one day. Like you said, my life just changed. And I got a call from someone I admire a lot in this film industry and in the world in general as a woman, as a Black woman. I got a call to be Ava DuVernay's assistant on her first TV show, Queen Sugar, which was filming in New Orleans, which was crazy because that's something I've always wanted to do since I've seen her first movie.
You better go, girl.
I did. I went, girl.
Yes, you better go.
As chance would have it, sometimes things in the universe don't work out as long as we want them to. And I really think the point of me going to that job was to see somebody who, like me, had worked in the industry for so long behind the scenes, and now she was taking her opportunities to, be the woman in charge. And that's what I really want to do. So after that experience and the job ran short, I thought it would go a longer time. It went shorter. when it was over, I just, find myself faced with what am I going to do now? I could go get another job, or I could really work on, telling my stories and getting my movies made. So that's what I'm doing. I'm like writing and living the dream of a writer, which means 1 minute it's all great and the next minute life sucks. But
I guess that's part of being a creative, huh? You got to figure it out sometimes.
Yeah, figure out meals, rent, car note, all of that. But hey, you're right. That is a part of being a creative, because 1 minute you don't have it and the next minute you create stuff.
Speaking of being a creative, tell me what's your definition of it?
To me, when I say that I'm a creative, that means that I am creating new content based on my experiences in a variety of ways. For me, it comes out, as I said, I'm a writer primarily. I'm also a budding filmmaker, so I do shoot some things and edit, and I'm a director. So that's how I define creativity for me. My writing doesn't just span to narratives or storytelling. I also write for social media brands and influencers, and I also write journalistic points of view. So as a creative, when I say that I'm a creative from now on, what that means is I'm using my creativity as currency, so that whatever I do to make money has to rely on my creativity. And that's what I mean when I call myself a creative.
Amen. Bravo. That is beautiful. I guess I'm a creative too.
You are, boo. You've been a creative.
Girl, the way I gotta create money for these bills.
Girl, we should also add an element of magic is involved in the creative process, because you gotta believe. You gotta believe in something you can't see, and you gotta believe heavy.
You most certainly do, because I'm not gonna lie. If it wasn't for my faith in God, I don't know where I would be. I don't know where I'd be. No lie, like probably picking up cans.
Yeah. It's real out here.
Yes, which I'm sure I would be good at picking up cans if I had to do that, but that's not for me.
Yeah, it's hot. It's a very hot summer, and when it's not hot, you live in Louisiana most of the year, it rains. So no, we can't have you out there picking up cans in the storm and rain. No,
ma'am.
I think there's more for you.
I'm gonna believe that. That's what I got. That's why I keep it strong. That's why I keep on believing. Speaking of believing, I'm sure you have. It takes a lot to believe in yourself and to step off the beaten path to go into doing what's in your heart. Mm-hmm. And I was doing some research on you, and it looks like you went to law school first.
Yeah.
How was that? Like, how was that whole thing from coming from the school side, the corporate side, to a side that's more expressive in you?
Well, that's if you look at my resume, it doesn't tell like a whole story, because I did go to law school, and it seems as though before that point that I was very focused in on a career path. But the truth is, the desire to do what I'm doing right now has always been present. I just didn't feel comfortable with expressing that. I didn't feel comfortable telling my parents, my family who had worked so hard for me to go to college, that I was gonna be a waitress and try to write a play about music.
Right,
I couldn't really tell them that. That's what you're gonna do. At that point, I was working at Purdue University in Indiana. I had moved all the way to Indiana. My family is more traditional, so they believe if you get a job, that's the job you keep. And so I just knew I had to get out of sports information, and I thought about going back to school for a multitude of things. But law school, people I knew who had gone to law school, they were not only lawyers or judges or politicians, they had, a whole lot more opportunity. So I figured I would go back to law school and some kind of way parlay that into entertainment career. And then I started reading just more and more about law school, and I read about this guy, a black guy who had went to Howard, and he was a good lawyer in DC making all this money. And one day he decided to quit all that to be an agent at William Morris in the mailroom. And that's one of those big agencies, which now since you're one of the stars.
You better speak it, girl.
So Charles King, this black guy, Charles King, had worked at as an attorney, and now he gave all that up to go be an agent. And at the time, he was super hot. This article was written about him because he was the agent to Missy Elliott and Tyler Perry.
Oh,
and
wow.
at first when Tyler Perry came out, he was like everything. So I don't know, it just made me feel like, yay, I'll go to law school and then I could figure out the rest. And so when I went to law school and I graduated, I told my family, I'd moved to California and study for the bar exam. Well, that gave me from graduation until about October when exam results came out. So I figured in that time, that's how much time I had before, my family was going to be like, what you doing out there? I had that much time to get a job. Unfortunately, I ended up getting a job for a talent manager, and the rest, kind of played out like it did. And my family was all right because I kept a job. So law school for me was a way to become a creative.
Right. So you kind of like snuck out. You snuck out on a slick. And got
I sneak out.
I'm out of here.
I'll sneak out in a minute. I grew up with my grandma, so I don't know the ask approach. I always had to sneak out. So I find myself sneaking out quite a bit. I'm sneaking out right now. Like, they don't know the extent of my situation right now. How much of a game it is from month to month.
Right.
They don't know this freelance life, basically.
No. And the freelance life is real. And I feel like people need to know about it because it's that middle ground that can make you or break you.
Right.
Right. And this is usually that ground that people are scared to jump into.
Yeah.
What motivates you to stay in it?
Well, for me at this point in my life, like, I made this jump. I graduated from law school in 2005. So I made this jump then. And at this point, I've been in it so long,
right.
I gotta stick it out.
Right.
I do keep learning as I go, and I'm like getting closer and closer all the time, but I haven't made it yet. So I definitely can relate to people that feel like, it's not worthwhile, it's not, worth it. And some days I ask myself if it's worth it, but no matter what else I try to go do, this is what always calls me back. And anytime I'm given the opportunity to watch a movie, I'm not watching as a regular person or a fan. I'm watching under the impression of how can I do this with my story, or what would it take for me to be able to do a movie like that. And it's in my heart. Like, I can't let it go. Trust me, I've tried. Once I took that leap, I immediately saw how difficult it was gonna be, and I tried to run back in. It just keeps calling me back. And I feel like whatever your passion is, you could ignore it. You could go get that regular job. You could go buy a house. You could get your nice little husband and your 2.5 kids. But if that's your calling and that's what's in your heart, one day it's gonna come back and you're not gonna be able to deny it. So for me, it was like, I might as well deal with this now.
You ain't lying about that. That's the truth. It sure did me that. I was sitting at work and I was like, you know what? I'm out. This ain't what I came here for.
Right? Now you out here looking crazy at work. You walked out and nobody knew what was going on, but you knew that whole time. Like, at every dinner party or every event or every meeting, it's something in the back of your mind like telling you this not for you. But it seemed like it should be. It seemed cool. Everybody's telling you you're doing good, so you want to keep it going. But at the end of the day, like, for me, I don't function well in those environments anymore. I think maybe being in this freelance life for so long, it makes things like being at a desk from 9 to 5 very difficult.
Girl, what is the worst now? I'll be like, oh my God, choke me now. Take the wheel, Jesus.
Yes.
Like, I feel, it makes you feel so controlled. I'm like, what do you mean I get 30 minutes for lunch? Oh, right. No, I need at least 2 good hours. I eat slow.
Right, and you might not just eat. And the fact, okay, like, people might be listening like, Yvonne, you need 2 hours? What kind of job is that? But think about it. You're going to work for like way more than the average 8 hours. And when you're there, you're going to put in so much. So if you need those 2 hours to get yourself together, why can't you have them? And I don't understand like structural job situations that say you can't have it. And yeah, it's all bad. So I definitely know for a fact that corporate world life, even though sometimes I get scared and I start like sending out applications, I know at the end of the day it's not long term for me.
speaking of you saying you didn't make it, because you know in my eyes you didn't made it, girl. Because I see your IMDb, and I mean it's like name after name after name after name after name. So maybe in your heart, you know, there's still more you want to do, but from over her, you're doing a good job.
Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend.
You're welcome, girl. But I do want to ask you about this one movie stood out to me, and I wanted to know more about it because I felt like we was friends, and I know, and that's not right.
Oh, okay. I'm like, woo.
I saw you were a director for 4 Women and producers.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yes. Okay. So actually, it's funny that you would feel some type of way about this movie because what had happened was my intention was to make this movie in New Orleans, and I had it all plotted out. It was going to be me, you, Nicole Collins, and my friend Samantha, and we were going to be these like girls in the city. We just get together this one night to talk about our life, and then it'll break off into these segments of what was going on with other people. And I had it in my head. I could see it so clearly. It was based on this Nina Simone song. It was going to be great. Everything was good. And then I got the job here, so I moved back to LA. And then there was a film contest for Essence, and I really wanted to enter. And a camera guy that I know from New Orleans was in town shooting, and Samantha happened to be in town for something she was doing. And I knew a couple girls here, so I figured like maybe I could get it made here in LA. And you know, I had just moved to LA. I felt like very confident in shooting a film here, so I figured let me go for it. And it just made me realize as a filmmaker how important it is to stick to what it is you want to do, because the story had like very specific things to New Orleans that just didn't translate in LA. Like for instance, one girl is supposed to be Catholic and she wants to have a baby so bad that she doesn't understand why God is forsaking her in this way. And I feel like if we would have been in New Orleans, we could have just captured it better, like as far as just coming out of Catholic church. Like everybody get that in New Orleans, but here
yes.
it just seemed like she was crying because she was so sad. I don't know, it just didn't translate the same. But that to say, yes, my first film that I made in LA was 4 Women. It was based on this Nina Simone song, and it's a short film. It's out on Vimeo. Look it up. It's called 4 Women, the short film. I liked it a lot because to me it was my opportunity to make a 2015 version of a Nina Simone video, and I think that's what it came out to.
Man, that's awesome. That's my favorite thing about life, is to see it come from out of your mind into reality.
Right. That's the best part about this whole thing, and that's what it's all worth. Like, it'll take me like a year to get my money together to shoot something, but then when I do shoot it and it comes out, like, I don't know, I feel like a little kid. I'm all smiling from ear to ear. It's just it's overwhelming.
Right, but then, like a little baby.
Yeah, but you know what? Just like a little baby though, immediately after that, you want to do something else. Like, it's just like, oh, that was great. We got to do that. But next time, I want to shoot it. And next time, I want to do it with these people. And next time. So yeah, it's at catch-22.
I feel you on that. Yeah, that is how it is. It's like we don't even take enough time to really like bask in it and appreciate it.
Right.
Maybe that comes from being a creative, you know, like it makes you want to, like, I know for me, I'm always critiquing my work that I cannot relax. I can't enjoy it.
Right. And I've seen you and how you work, and I think we are similar in that way. Like, I think when you were here, you were working on like a flyer. It was something very seemingly simple, but you knew in your head what you wanted, so whoever was emailing it to you, they just weren't catching your vision. Yes. And I know that feeling. It can be so frustrating because you see it. It's not like you trying to tell them something that's not there in your head. It's real. So
right.
That's how it is with like trying to make movies or film, and I imagine that's how it is with songwriters. And you work with artists as well, like visual artists. So I think it's all this stuff that we're making. Like anything you make, you want it to be the way you saw it, and so it's just our work to get it as close to that as possible.
Yep. You know, and having good work is important. Like I know for you, you read a lot of scripts.
Yeah.
You in the industry. You're not like no fly-by-night person. Like you read scripts for people like Taraji. You know,
Yeah.
tell us about that, and then if you could kind of elaborate on what it takes to even get that script in your hands.
Yeah. Well, when I moved to LA twice. Now is my second go around in LA. But when I lived here before, from about 2005 until I moved to New Orleans in like 2009, during that time I worked like assistant work for managers, but to get extra money, I was a reader. And agents would contact me to read for their clients. And my long-term person that I read for was Idris Elba. And by working with, I know, girl.
Girl, I have been reading down all at the bedtime stories and everything.
Just so stupid.
Read
There's a problem with that though. Like, once you work with certain people, they don't be finding you no more. Like, so Idris Elba is obviously on paper fine, but to me, he's kind of not. He's the guy that like used to call me and ask me questions about what I wrote. Now we have to talk about it, which was great because that meant he cared. But at the same time, it didn't make him like hot. He ain't never called me and asked me like what I was wearing or nothing like that. Like, so
right. It was like work. You're like, this isn't fun at all.
Yeah. Or like one time I used to work with, and this is not to name drop, but it's definitely on point with this conversation. I worked with Michael Ealy for a while on a TV show he filmed in New Orleans. And before that, I just thought Michael Ealy was like the son. He was so fine to me, so cute, so whatever. And then the first time, like, I picked him up at the airport and we were riding, and he talking about regular stuff. He like flipping the station. He was
he was flipping the station.
Yeah.
Oh no, we was no sir, you don't touch my radio. Oh no, man, Pam.
Oh, we regular. So you just like a brother figure, and it was all of a sudden like dreams dashed, like whatever. Anyway, back to the story. So back in 2000.
Wait, hold on, before you get started, I do have to make you laugh. Girl, guess when the first time I saw Michael Ealy?
Where?
Was at your play. When he popped up and came to see your play in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, he sure did come to Hip Hop Is Alive. See, now the listeners know I ain't just no name dropping over here. Cause you was there as my friend, you know what's up.
Girl, just to show you can name drop now. This is how to do it. He sure was. We was like, is that Michael Ealy?
That was him. That did make me feel good, like super good. Like, oh, it's my play and I got celebrities here and stuff. Yeah, girl.
I was bucked up for you that night. I said, oh, my girl pulling celebs out. You better go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad. All right.
No, girl, you fine. Your audience, they are enjoying it, I hope. So, reading, what makes a good story? So to me, from the experiences I had with Idris Elba, he was very specific. He was looking for scripts that would set him apart as an actor. He didn't want to do the typical roles that black male actors get. He didn't want to do anything he had done before. And he also wanted to do things that just pushed the boundaries of filmmaking in general. So with that said, for him specifically, I was looking for those things, but you always, when you're looking at a script, no matter who you are, who you're reading for, it always goes back to story. And the best filmmakers, the best screenwriters, the best rappers, the best whoever that's creating, if their story is solid, then everything else falls into place. And I think a problem with a lot of new screenwriters is that they are so committed to the truth of what they saw or what they experienced, and they're trying to tell this in a script that they forget. They're more based on the facts than the story of it all. And sometimes that's where they get caught up. And nobody cares if you're telling a story about your third grade best friend who hit you with a rock. Like, nobody needs to know all of those details. They need to know the heart of the story. How did this person make you feel? How did that shape the rest of your life? What did you two do together and how did you grow? And if you could streamline it to those basic questions that move the story along, anything that's on the page, if it's not moving the story along, it's just taking up space. And if you can have enough self-awareness to step outside of yourself and edit it like from a third eye perspective and just like looking at your story to see, you know, if somebody else would find this interesting, if other people would get what you're talking about, if you've made the story accessible to people, if you see those things, you might, you know, have something good. And then of course there's like format stuff. Like if you're going to be a screenwriter, just Google it first before you start sending out your script to make sure you're in guidelines, you know, that what people are looking for in a script. You don't want to send in a Microsoft Word document of like 10 pages saying it's a script. That's not. So,
right.
Just being clear about your formatting things and how to make stuff look, because, when you're new, you're already different because you're new. So you want to have your material look as accessible to people who don't know you as possible.
Right. You want to look at least like you know what you're doing.
Right.
And that could make sense. I can see how that makes sense. What would you say is like an average script? We know 10 pages isn't right, but what is a nice starting point?
Okay. Well, if it's a movie, a nice movie, like think about a movie you're watching on TV. You want something not too long, not longer than 2 hours, and you don't want to be too short that you were able to get it in. So the average movie on TV is like an hour and a half, so 90 minutes. And just as a general rule, when you're writing a script, it's a page a minute. So if you have a 90-minute script, it's a 90-page script. So for your first, if you're doing a feature, you want to be between like 90 and 120 pages. If you're doing a short film, it's up to you because shorts can be totally experimental. Now that's where you can have your like 10-page script or your 3-page script. You can pretty much do whatever you want with a short. So that gives you a little bit more creative freedom. And that's always a great place to start for, first-time filmmakers because it's easier. So yeah. Oh, if you're writing a TV show, it depends again on how long. Like if it's an hour-long TV show, you want a 45 to 60 page script, but just be mindful that most networks have commercials. So, you would deduct for that. But in general, a page a minute, and you're sticking to the guidelines of what you want. So a feature, 90 to 120 pages. A TV show would depend on the length of the show. And then for a short film, it's experimental, so you can have pretty much whatever you like. If you're trying to get into film festivals, you want to be around the 30-minute mark. But for the most part, it's open and you can kind of experiment with that.
What is the best way for a new filmmaker to get in the industry? Are the film festivals the best, or what would you recommend?
I definitely think film festivals are tried and true. I don't think it's always accessible to everyone because it can get to be a bit expensive. And the better the film festival, the kind that really, set you apart and get you on, then they want the really high quality videos and films. So they're looking for the best. So film festivals are a great way to break in, but sometimes for people it might not seem as accessible. Another thing that's very popular that I don't know if people really take advantage of are these contests. All the networks, a lot of the studios, a lot of the premium channels like HBO and stuff, they all have writing contests, and they also do directors fellowship contests. And it's a needle in a haystack chance of winning, it seems, but every time you read the list, it's somebody that's been doing stuff, and it's somebody that's been out there. So it's possible to win those contests. Real people do win, and that's a good way to put your stuff out there. Some of those contests come with critique, so you might not win, but if you're in the top percent of people who enter, you'll get critique on your work. There's another thing that people do. Now, I recommend doing a lot of research to make sure you're with a legit one, but they're pitching contests where they'll just open the floor and they'll give a random set of guidelines, and people can enter to pitch their material to industry professionals. But that's why I say do your research to make sure it's a reputable pitch contest that has, real people on the board. If it's somebody you never heard of and you Google them, they don't show up, then that might not be the best contest.
And I think that's a great place for everybody to start. I hope the screenwriters that are listening really got some valuable information from what you just said. I mean, I did. Even just learning about the 1 page per minute, that's new for me. Mm-hmm. And for those people out there who are thinking, well, what does she know about this? I just want to run down some of the projects you were involved with. We already talked about Queen Sugar. You were involved with The Butler, This Is the End, The Twilight Saga. That's official motto right there when you're in the Twilight Saga. Okay, that puts you up with the upper echelon in my book.
Okay.
And also First Sunday. And those are just a few of the projects that you've worked on. Breaking into that industry, I saw that you did a lot of production work. How was that, and how can people get involved with being in production?
Okay, for me, production came as a result. I was living in LA, and then I had some personal stuff happen. My first cousin passed away, and it just made me feel like I should be home. So I moved back home. And while I was in New Orleans, I worked at the city has an office for film production, or they did. I'm not sure if they still do. But anyway, the city had an office for film production, and I was an intern there. That's one thing about production and film work in general. It doesn't really matter what you've done. At the time when you're trying to enter, you have to be willing to do what's available. So even though I had worked with all those people you named and I was doing all that great stuff in LA, when I got back home, people were summing it up to basically I was a secretary and they didn't, the skill set didn't really translate to a lot of employers. So I ended up getting this intern with the city, and through that I met some people in film industry, and a locations manager gave me a PA job on a movie. And from there I was able to meet other people that, I was able to meet somebody that worked in an office to tell them how I was much better suited to work in the office than pick up trash on a location set. But, it is what it is. I did it.
Right. It's true. You got to really start from the bottom.
You have to start from the bottom. Even though I had came and I was like, what are you talking about? I did the bottom already. They were like, yeah, that was in another state. So you have to start over. And that was it. I just basically would show up, be willing to do what was available. And then from there, basically take every opportunity as my opportunity. And I think that's where, how earlier we were talking about being a creative, I think that's where I had to start switching my hat to more of the creative side now, because I know how to do that. I know how to go and get a job, and that's what production life calls for. If you want to work in production, you just have to be somebody that's a hustler, that's willing to work, because it's always work. That being said, the governor kind of screwed us over in Louisiana. So I'm not sure how the film industry there now is, because everybody I know from there is moving here or moving to Atlanta. So I'm not really, I can't speak all the way on it. But
he hated on us. That's all you can sum it up to. Yeah. We would do it. It was bringing so much money in the city. Hating.
Yeah. Hating on the state. Like, all that money was coming to New Orleans and Shreveport. You think that wasn't going back to the state? Like, people got to eat. People put gas in their car. People go in the grocery store. Like, I don't understand. It's like they shoot themselves in the foot every time.
Right. No, guys, no. You know what you guys are doing? You're bringing in too much money, and you're bringing in too many jobs. And as a city, state, whatever, we don't like it.
We don't like it. We want you to be poor, begging, and the fact you're out there making your own way, heck no. Scale it back.
Yes, like that. I just don't understand the logic behind it, but whatever. I just hope that they change it and revamp our film industry, because New Orleans needed that.
Yeah, and I think what you could see when you see like all the stuff, if you watch some of the movies shot in New Orleans is a beautiful film city. Like, sometimes those movies you don't even know it's in New Orleans until like you see a landmark or you see somewhere you've been. You'll be like, whoa, this look different. It's like, it's aesthetically beautiful. The people to work with in Louisiana are so much better. The life there is better. It's a little bit more straightforward. It's like less expensive. It just was an overall win. So it does bother me that that isn't there.
I'm sure it was a culture shock for people from LA. Everybody's a little bit more like faster, I guess.
Yeah, it's super fast in LA, and I think that's what helped me too. When I was first back home trying to break into production, I had a LA phone number, and I had worked with people who move really fast. Like, everybody I worked with in LA was known around town as being like crazy, or, oh, you worked for him? He was crazy. That means you'll do a great job here. Like, what?
Right.
So, but, I don't know. Again, I'm switching from that administrative cap. When I used to just be looking for a job or trying to work in production, moving my way up, I found that people were just really impressed with like people that could basically work like a slave.
Like, they want to sum it all up.
all the time, like work all the time, work super hard, like be the first one there, be the last one to leave, and just really give your all to the job. And I used to do that for years, and now I know that it's important for me to put that same energy, on my work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry, I forgot what you asked me, and I just went on a tangent, girl, talking about the governor, talking about this one. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right, girl. It happens like that. Well, before we go, do you have any advice that you would like to give to up-and-coming directors, producers, or up-and-coming creatives, just people who are maybe at that point, maybe they're sitting at their job right now listening, saying, man, I wish I could break out, I could just find the strength to leave. If you could make a difference and inspire that one person, what would you tell them?
Well, what I would say is this. There is something that can be done at whatever level you feel comfortable with. So if you're a person sitting at your desk and you want to break out of what you're doing into something more creative, but you're not quite ready to, abandon everything you have going on, that's all right. Like, I have watched 5 movies this weekend that are festival picks that people shot on iPhones. Like, with the technology we have in our hands, if you have a story to tell, don't let your job description limit your creativity. Like, there's weekends you off at some point, like, use the time you have to put into your work. And I think what'll happen is it'll show you if this is a career for you or if this is something you just love. And there's a lot of people that are making very great movies and quality videos, and it's just their like side gig because their day job is something else. So whoever you are, there's room for you to tell your stories. Like, you've had your life experience for none other than that point. So you have to tell it. And whether that means go out and shoot stuff on your phone, if you want to get a higher quality camera, if you want to, hang out with some friends who are musicians so you could lay down a track, or if you want to go hang out with your artist friends and paint something, like, just do something to keep your creativity going, because like anything else, if it's not used, it'll go away, and then you'll be one of those crazy bitter people that's always yelling at artists about getting a real job. And you don't want that. Nobody wants to be that guy.
Artie, that ain't no real job. You need to get out here with the rest of us and work for a dollar. Wait a minute.
Don't you want more out of your life?
Wait a minute. I didn't tell you what to do. If that's what you want to do you, but don't come over here forcing it on me.
Right, exactly. But those people are the people that didn't follow their heart, and they sat at the job, just kept on going, knowing that wasn't for them. Now they are bitter, and they can't let other people live. So don't be that person.
Don't be bitter. Be better.
Yes! I love that. I love that. Girl, I'm about to tweet that.
Yes.
No, I'm on Facebook.
Now, Davida, this is between us, so I gotta do this part because it's only right. We have to finish the show this way.
Okay.
Next year, this time, where do we want to be?
Ooh, now this one, okay, for your viewers, I gotta tell y'all again, the same way I started this show, I'm gonna end it. Yvonne is a magic maker over there. She is a speaker of things to come. And when I have said things in her presence, it has come to, fruition. So, I don't know. Ooh, I'm a little bit nervous about this. But I'm going to go ahead and say it. You right. I can say this.
Go on and say it.
In the next year, I will have completed a book. And I would have written and be at least in pre-production on my first feature film that I wrote and directed. Yeah. Ooh, girl,
put it out
now
there.
I feel all crazy. Like, people looking at me. Ain't nobody here. No, it's just me. But I feel like, I don't know, the forces are coming. I hope it's the helpful forces. Come on, help your girl.
I'm going to leap with you. I'm going to take a big leap with you.
All right. Now, I still have a little note that you wrote that I'm not going to share with the people because it ain't their business. And if they really knew, and when it did happen, they would be blowing your phone up. But just know that I am still like praying and hoping and wishing and all that good stuff on some things we put into motion a little bit ago.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I guess I'm going to end mine with, not I guess. Ooh, this a big goal. This a big goal. But I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. Why not? I'm going to do it. I want to have, this time next year, the #1 show in the world.
Ooh, I think you could do it.
Ooh, I'm going to believe it. I mean, why not shoot for the top? If I could at least shoot for the sky and land on the stars, I'm still living high.
You are very high. And, I mean, I don't see why it's impossible. Considering, A, I've seen some #1 shows and be like, how did I get to be #1? And #2, your personality is so good. Yeah, I can see that happening. That could happen.
Thank you, girl.
Yeah. And look at all those #1 things you've been working behind the scenes on. Might as well put that energy on you. Let's go, Ms Yvonne.
Thank you, Lord. Now it's all me. Came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. No help, that's all me, for real. I cannot, well, God in me. But I don't want to steal no praise and go, and I ain't trying to get in trouble. But
I got you.
But man, Davida, it's been great. Thank you so much for being open to taking this call. This means so much to me because you were the first person that interviewed me on the radio.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's me.
That was you. You put me on my very first show, and that meant a lot to me. And so it's awesome to be able to, like, now it's my turn. And who would have ever thought that I'd be here and doing this with you, and we'd have this day. So
Yvonne, I cannot tell you enough. Like, you know how we started off as our friendship, and we've just accomplished so much as women. As a Black woman, I was one of the first people to interview you on the radio because you were doing something so important. And once again, here you are in a position not just to better yourself and move yourself forward to the #1 show, but to bring the rest of us with you in a variety of ways, whether it's offering inspiration or it's like giving factual content that we can apply to our lives. Either way, I just appreciate what you're doing, and any way I can support that, whether it's take a call, write a letter, I don't know, anything that don't involve being outside in the heat, I got
I'm telling you, girl, and I can tell you one thing, that's where I won't be. Well, thank you, Davida, for being a guest on the Conversations with Ms Yvonne show. It was a pleasure, and I look for many more days of us having more conversations.
Yes, and next time in person with drinks. Yay!
Give it my wine. All right, boo. Take care.
Thank you
girl.
so
Love
much,
you,
Ms
girl.
Yvonne.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into the Conversations with Ms Yvonne show. That wraps it up for us today. I hope you enjoyed our show. Also, to the first 100 people that register on my email list, I'm going to give you guys special prizes and contests every now and then. You never know. So the first 100 people to sign up, just remember, you can get picked for something special. I'm a random person. So the information you're going to get is random. On Mondays, it's going to be Get Your Mind Right Mondays, where we post anything that'll help get your mind right. And on Fridays, I like to be fancy free on Fridays. So that's just what I do. I'm from the South. I'm from New Orleans, but I've lived all over the world. So sometimes I speak broken English. Sometimes it's all together. But it's me. And that's what I plan to give you on this show. Me. To continue with the shows, you can visit www.MsYvonne, that's spelled MsYvonne.com. That will keep you up to date with all the hottest new material that comes out. It can be sent directly to your phone if you sign up with our email blast. So, keep rocking with us. Stay tuned. I really appreciate you as a listener. I value your time, and I appreciate any feedback that you give. I'm always down for improvements and constructive criticism. I hope that you have a great day. Go out there, be positive, make a difference, and above all, do you. One love, one love, one love.